kind of hellish nightmare on the racial scene. And so Nat Turner appeared, my Nat Turner, appeared at a time when this dream of Martin Luther King's had evaporated. So there was good reason why my book was met with such mixed reactions.
I do think that in an extraordinary and strange way, Bill Styron did do a service in the sense of putting Nat Turner back on the table, making people argue about who he was. And nobody, no matter which side they took of the argument, really knew very much. It was like people throwing punches in the dark. And in the last generation since then, we've learned a lot more, though we still have not penetrated the veil entirely.
We can't be dependent on white people to represent our culture with integrity and imagination and respect.
If you don't like Bill Styron's Nat Turner, write your own. I think the only way that you can fight a representation in art that you don't like is to create new art, create more art, surround it.
I don't consider myself an artist. I don't consider myself as one who can critique art. I only paint for one reason and one reason only, and that is to illustrate what is said to me through my ancestors. They're not asking for revenge, they're asking to be recognized. And I believe they will not rest in peace unless their story is heard, and unless their voices are heard.
But can any work of art move Americans closer to an agreement on the meaning of Nat Turner and his revolt?
Sally!
Cut it. Swinged and went to other times.
Yeah. One more time, right away. Here we go. Ready.
I think there is a need for closure. There is a need to resolve this thing. Sometimes it takes a mediator. A piece of artwork can do that. The whole idea is, who is Nat Turner? We don't know. And people with little information have created their own Nat, and they've claimed it. And it's not that we're trying to reclaim Nat, we're just trying to present other artists' interpretation of Nat Turner, and trying to do that very faithfully without interpreting their work.
Was a wrong law to fight that black men must be free?
Everywhere in the film, there is interpretation, and the subject matter we are dealing with is interpretation. Now, when you do a film about interpretation, what's the film about that interpretation? Isn't that film another interpretation?
We're really unconscious of the pain that you're causing this little kid.
Mark.
And so that's the sinister part about this scene.
Whatever.
Every interpretation ultimately forces you back into another interpretation, another interpretation, another interpretation.
Action.
Reverend Ballard, more wine.
That's the tension here, is to say that, no, you're not doing your movie about Nat Turner. You're doing William Styron's interpretation of Nat Turner as faithful as possible to William Styron's scenes in his novel.
Right, but I can't cut it.
Same thing with Thomas R. Gray. You're trying to be matter-of-fact about Thomas R. Gray. You're not trying to take any kind of license. Recreate these different sources of Nat Turner, the publications and things like that. We can't say in this film that this person is wrong or that person is wrong. It's not about that. The truth is that this event happened, people interpreted it a certain way on racial lines, and the only way to resolve it or to live with it is to have some sort of dialogue and come to terms with what was this event.
Rolling. Mark. Shh, quiet. Action.
Cut.
Cutting.
I think there's a great danger of sliding into a kind of relativism, and there are multiple different versions of history, and let's just line them all up. And I think that the great challenge would be how to devise a structure that permits some degree of interpretation and reflection on multiple perspectives without implying there was no truth of the matter.
The fact is there was a historical Nat Turner. The fact is that certain things were known about him. The fact is that as a consequence of his actions, he occupied a very prominent and important role in the collective memory and imagination of the black community, and perhaps possibly in the white community too.
I think the mysteriousness of the man, the absolute mysteriousness of the man, will perpetually provoke people's imagination. He represents an incredible need and hunger. Just the fact that he did what he did, right or wrong, or whatever the moral implications of what he did it.
And it seems to me that trying to figure out Turner and his meaning for those who lived and died is an arduous task. And that, whether we like it or not, is what we're called to as Americans.